Hello and welcome to ENERGYxtra. Myself and Louise Purcell will be joined by Anna Ferguson, who is the Power Systems Sector Lead for WSP here in the UK. WSP are one of the world's largest engineering consultancy firms, and we're absolutely delighted to be speaking to Anna today, and we're delighted that they will be exhibiting at ENERGYx 2020. Hello Anna.
Hello Paul. Hello Louise.
Hi Anna.
Anna, how is the COVID-19 crisis affecting the WSP Power Systems team?
So we've actually been carrying on in a pretty much business as usual way. We didn't get much notice when we all had to, start to work from home, and we had to kind of change our way of working really quickly. But actually, I was a bit concerned that people would feel isolated and it would be much more difficult to work together as project teams. But we've carried on delivering projects successfully. Our clients have adapted too. It's taken a little bit of time, but things have settled down now, and people are really getting used to the way of working. So actually, from a project point of view, both winning and delivering, we've been carrying on pretty much as business as usual.
Have you had to adopt any special measures so you can continue to support your customers?
So in the Power Systems team, we do quite a lot of modelling. So we use specialist software. And previously we used to share dongles around the offices for certain softwares. We've managed to set up a networking solution really quickly, which has meant that we can share the software remotely between locations as well. The Power Systems team is split between Glasgow, Newcastle, Guildford, Manchester and Serbia. So yeah, we've been successfully sharing the software, and that's been working really, really well. Obviously also in terms of travel, we can't sit next to each other anymore, but then the teams are quite, they're dispersed in any case. So we've always had to make use of teams of video conferencing to some extent, but now of course we can't travel to see clients. We can't do tender interviews with clients face to face. So we've adapted by using, video conferencing facilities, and clients have adapted accordingly as well. So I think we were concerned that some things would be delayed or stopped, but clients have pretty much carried on in the same way as well. So, I've done a couple of pitches for new projects via video conferencing. It's worked well. It's saved the travel as well. So there are advantages. So yeah, I think it's actually been amazing how quickly both our team and clients have adapted.
So Anna, have you had to take any special measures for you or your colleagues at this time?
So I think one of the challenges that some of us have, including ourselves, is that we have small children at home, and obviously the schools and the nurseries are still shut at the moment. I personally have got a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. My husband is working part-time as well. Even when he's not working, there's lots of interruptions throughout the day with children wandering in and so on. So I found that I've changed my working patterns to some extent. So I'll finish a bit earlier, help with tea, and then I'll work again in the evenings, making up for the kind of interruptions throughout the day. And it works fine. It's actually quite nice to see the children. But, towards the beginning of lockdown, I was a bit embarrassed if a child wandered in and so on. But it's been quite funny, I guess. I've had quite a few conversations with clients where their children have been sitting on people's knees as well, or people have been comparing their dogs, or with one client, a duck was a regular visitor, so wandered into the conservatory where he worked, so he was showing us the duck. So yeah, it's been quite entertaining, and actually something that someone else has made the point that we've been able to see our clients in a much more personal way to some extent than we would have done previously, and in some ways that's developed quite close relationships.
With the changes from DNO to DSO, accurate, relevant data as well as machine learning are going to be critical to the future. So I suspect your work has continued at pace.
So traditionally we're a power systems team, and we do traditional power systems analysis, but over the last 18 months or so we've been growing to different areas: energy strategy, regulation, and as you rightly say, data is becoming much more important, and the quality of data, what we do with the data. There's vast amounts of data now on the electrical network systems, and there's huge opportunities for making use of that data. So it's absolutely a key strategic area for us. We had a very good win about a year ago where we developed a tool for the ENA, and that's a group of DNOs, and that's looking at how much reinforcement's needed on the networks over the next 30 years. And that was a big piece of data analysis. We took in huge amounts of data, analysed that, and brought it into this tool. That tool's now being extended and developed for certain DNOs, and I think there's a lot of opportunity for that particular tool, and we're seeing those projects continuing, and as you say, continuing at pace. Some of them are being funded through innovation budgets, which are secure, others through price control budgets for RIIO-ED2. We've also had a really good win recently. It's not publicly announced as yet, so I can't give too many details, but it's with a partner company, and it's for one of the network operators, and it's looking at machine learning to fill up some data gaps. We think machine learning and artificial intelligence is a really great opportunity for the networks, and again, something that we're going to be developing going forward. So the way I see 2021 going is that we will grow the team in terms of the data competencies, and that'll be a real growth area for us.
Anna, have you seen any volatility in demand for innovation projects from the DNO sector?
So innovation is a key priority for us, particularly NIA and NIC funding via Ofgem. We find that there's lots of opportunities in those areas, and it's been something that we've been strategically developing within WST and the Power Systems team over the last few years, actually, but probably ramped up over the last 18 months or so. NIA budgets are secure currently, so there's plenty of funding and a lot of opportunity. It's interesting actually that Ofgem have announced a new innovation pot for water, for the water sector, which wasn't available before. So we take that as a sign that the innovation funding is secure, and actually it's developed some real opportunities for network companies, and you know, it's enabled them to advance in areas that they probably wouldn't have been able to without the innovation funding. So I wouldn't have said that, you know, the virus has led to any increase in innovation funding, but it's certainly a really secure area for us in terms of developing new projects.
I'm aware you're doing some very exciting work with various partners. Can you share any of that with us today?
So we were lucky enough to win two really interesting projects through the ESO, so National Grid System Operator Innovation Competition at the back end of last year. And we've just started working on those very recently. And we're partnering with two companies, Cornwall Insight, who is an economic consultancy with really good experience in economics related to the power industry, and Complete Strategy, which is a management consultancy, but again focusing on utilities. So it's a combination of three companies with WSP leading. And there's two ideas that we came up with and were selected through the competition for funding. One was on the low frequency demand disconnection relays, so really trying to solve some of the issues that came about with the blackout last year, looking at how disconnection could be done in a better way and perhaps affect fewer customers, looking at innovation and innovative ideas around the LFDD relays, which are quite traditional pieces of equipment. And the second idea that we've started to work on is looking at active network management, but specifically how the DSO and the TSO should coordinate active network management between them, because there can be issues, you know, and conflicts. So it's basically trying to resolve conflicts and make the process as efficient as possible as the DNO moves to DSO.
If there was ever any proof required of the importance of flexibility in the networks, it's now, with the dramatic shift in demand profile as we've navigated ourselves through this crisis. So I suspect the support from WSP to the industry is critical at this time.
So yes, I completely agree that there's been some really interesting trends and challenges due to the COVID-19 pandemic. I think it's not just demand profile, that is important, that's definitely changed, but also the generation mix. So I think, coal has not been online for well over a month. And there's been much greater proportion of renewables, wind and solar specifically. And that wasn't forecast to happen for another, say, 10 years or so. And actually, it's almost like a lot of people have been saying in the commentary, almost like a snapshot of what the electricity network generation mix might look like in 10 years' time. But now, so National Grid have had to adapt very, very quickly. And one of the things they've brought in is a new service for distributed generation that enables more flexibility from distributed connected generation, and that's been put in place really quickly. So National Grid is definitely finding it challenging, and that's a great example of how flexibility is being used to solve the challenges. And another area is the Stability Pathfinder, which National Grid had already instated because of the shortage of inertia on the system. But obviously that's increasing in importance because we definitely need more inertia now, with there being less thermal generation on the networks. So in terms of what WSP is doing, I mean, it's interesting you should say, but definitely opportunities around flexibility are increasing. So we're looking at starting off an innovation project with one of the distribution network operators at the moment that's specifically looking at how they can model flexibility services within our tool, which looks at network reinforcement. So modelling flexibility services in detail as an alternative to traditional reinforcement. That's one area. We're also supporting developers for the Stability Pathfinder and those specific tenders, and also the technical design around Stability Pathfinder, and also expecting to see more opportunities in that space too.
I'm aware of the work that WSP Power Systems are doing with various DNOs around the country. Are these projects continuing as scheduled?
So I think we're quite lucky within the Power Networks team as a whole, because a lot of our work is for the network operators and owners, so the DNOs and the TOs. And that work is certainly continuing in a pretty much business as usual way. And certainly the innovation projects are ongoing. There's no issues with delays there. We have in some cases and some projects found that we've actually been supplying more staff. So where staff have been redeployed to resolve COVID-19 type issues within the DNOs or the network owners, we've actually had some opportunities to perhaps provide some more staff to backfill some of those functions. So in some cases we have seen some additional opportunities.
It seems, Anna, then, that other than the need to work from home, it's all systems go for the WSP Power Systems team?
So certainly I'd say so at the moment. I think our projects, we're pretty busy at the moment, as I said, with lots of innovation projects supporting network owners and so on. We've managed to adapt to working from home. We've managed to adapt our software. So yeah, at the moment I'd say things are good.
Thank you, Anna. That was very informative. The machine learning stuff sounds very exciting, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. Anyway, thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you at ENERGYxtra 2020. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Thanks, Louise. Yeah, really looking forward to seeing you in person as well at Energy 2020.
Goodbye, Anna. Look forward to seeing you at ENERGYxtra 2020 on the 24th and 25th of November.